I used to be afraid of you, but I don't think I am anymore.
There's nothing to fear except God.
For me, God is a disease.
It's the things that make you look at what you thought you saw in a different light. The hole in the Pentagon being too small for a plane. The lawn isn't mussed up. The government's not showing the plane hitting when many cameras photographed it.
There's nothing to fear except God. God. God.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
It's too big.
Back and to the left, 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 back and to the left.
Hello, everybody. This is Half a God's Face podcast. Here we are, episode 3. Austin has pledged allegiance to Hezbollah because of the poll I took on my Instagram story. And what do you have to say about that, Austin?
I think that everyone that voted for that can.
Well, wait a second. Before you say the next thing, do you know who voted for that?
I actually don't. Please tell me.
Your sister did. She won.
That's pretty frustrating, Zach. That's pretty
Yeah.
frustrating.
So here we are. This is our podcast to analyze the annual adrenochrome satanic ball, which happens once a year, which is known as the Academy Awards. The number one thing voted on my poll was me shit talking, and that's a dangerous thing to encourage me to do. I am drinking, but we'll see how this goes. I'm not gonna be, I like movies in general. Is kind of where I'm at. I like enjoyable movies. I like to go to the movies and have an enjoyable time. So I'm excited for the satanic adrenochrome festival that's going to happen on Sunday. It's going to be really cool.
You know what's crazy about that is some people just subscribed
Yeah.
off of that.
Wait. Holy shit. Dude, Austin.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my God.
What?
I'm getting a call from the President of the United States right now.
Oh. What?
Hello, Half a God's Face podcast. How are you doing? I recently watched Amelia Perez, and I can say definitively I will be signing an executive order this upcoming week to rescind every nomination from Amelia Perez. Oh my God! Thank you, Donald. I mean, geez, I don't really have that big a problem with Amelia Perez. No. I'm gonna save it all. I'm gonna save the Oscars. Okay. Well. Okay. Thanks, Donald. All right. You too. No, I was just joking. That was me the whole time, by the way.
I'm glad you clarified. I wasn't able to pick that. MTOGA, make the Oscars great again. Yeah, for sure.
Too many trans people. Okay, Donald. Jesus, calm down. It's
Cut the
it's
line.
it's the Oscars, Donald. They're allowed to do what they want to do. But speaking of trans, Amelia Perez was nominated this year, and the lead of Amelia Perez. Okay, so here's the real question. I learned some other really interesting information today. Sean Baker follows IDF baddies on Twitter. Do you think that he should be disqualified also from winning Best Picture?
No.
Okay, we can move on. So for the nominations, where do you want to start, Austin? Do you want to start with because honestly, at this point, what did the Amelia Perez chick say? Do you know what she said? She said some wild shit, and everyone's mad now.
Yeah, it's an interesting controversy because it was picking up so much steam with the Golden Globes, and
Right.
it seemingly it was just kind of like, doing an unstoppable path towards probably many Oscar wins, but yeah, she's been tweeting some. I won't get into like the specific like tweet, but some.
I have an idea of what it's about.
Yeah, it's like it's very anti Oscar
It was
stuff.
it was it's anti-Arab, right? She like did like a whole thing about the refugee crisis. I think is what I heard.
Yeah, well, I've heard that, but I know that she said, "Am I watching a Black Lives Matter protest or am I watching the Oscars?"
Oh my god! Well, that's
And
wild. So she actually went after the Oscars directly.
yeah, I think this was 2018 or 2019 or
Oh my
2021. It
god!
was definitely like
Give Sean
right before.
Baker the award. IDF
Yeah.
baddies. That's not even like. I mean, honestly. So Gal Gadot,
Yes.
Wonder Woman or whatever.
Uh-huh.
She probably did like in fairness, she served in the IDF like the military. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Um, and honestly, I mean, what are the odds? Over like, I mean, she probably did like put a gun to a child's temple at some point. And I honestly, I'm not gonna like have an opinion on that. I'm just gonna put that in the air that one of the biggest stars in the world. Uh, so anyway, I don't think Jerry Seinfeld. No, he's not from Israel. Well, let's keep going. Anyway, the nominations. What were you saying, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a good grasp on the shorts and
Oh yeah.
documentary.
You know what's interesting? We can just buzz through those. There's
Yeah, absolutely.
Bill Morrison is actually a really great. I've only seen like one of his films, but he's nominated for one of the short awards. I'm trying to remember which one it is. I'm like completely forgetting. Yeah, here it is. I
Incident,
think it's
best
yeah,
documentary short.
documentary short. Yeah, yeah.
Incident, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
great way to
I don't
start.
I don't know what that film is about, but Bill Morrison made this movie called Decasia, which is like a bunch of archival footage, and the film just deteriorates in front of your eyes. So it's an experimental film. That's the only film. And then he did like Dawson City, Frozen Time, or something. I don't think I saw that one, but he's very archival based. So I don't really even know what. I just looked up the synopsis
Yeah.
for Incident, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen him make a movie like this. So
Is that what you would like your prediction would be for the documentary short?
oh my god, I literally have no idea what.
That's fair.
I have no idea what would win the shorts. And
And
I said this last year in the live stream, and it should always be brought up. There's a couple dimensions to this. First of all, whoever the Oscars says is the best short, I mean that's further. That has to be light years further away from being the right pick. In contrast to Best Picture, you know what I mean? Best Picture is closer to actually saying what is the real best movie of the year than the shorts, for sure, because there's so many shorts, and you can make a short for no money. I mean, you can make a feature for no money, but the Oscars obviously love rewarding people who show their budgets and all of that. That's kind of just how the film world works in general. People are just compulsively obsessed with production
yeah,
value, which I think is a disease as far as filmmaking art is like concerned. I feel like documentary is such an incredible form because you can do it for no money, and you can do just the most incredible stuff. And I mean, that's the antithesis of production value. I mean, that value, that's like just what's happening. And if it's mundane, it's mundane,
yeah,
and just people bragging about how expensive their cameras are and all this. It's just like, oh my God. It's like that's just so far away from what a movie is. But like, why is a movie good? My first thought isn't, oh, there was a ton of money it was thrown at it. It's like, yeah, I get it. I mean, it's the Oscars. Obviously, these are going to be movies that have ranging budgets, which again is why I wouldn't be opposed to Anora winning Best Picture because it is like such a small budget movie. But I don't know. It is frustrating when you look at the shorts and you're just like, there's no way that this is anywhere close to reality as far as what is a good short. So
yeah.
yeah, we can move on. I don't know if you had the favorites for that. If that would if you have that lined up for what it says on your computer, what's going to win for those?
No, I've obviously I'm a Gold Derby member. I enjoy the
Right.
the betting aspect, the who's going to win. It does excite me, and basically, it seems like this year there is no consensus on live action, animated, or documentary
Oh
for the
my
shorts
God.
on who's going to win, which I do kind of like.
Jesus. That's
But the
just
one
like
thing,
pure gambling.
absolutely, and that's going to like make or break people's winning percentages. But at least on this subject of documentary short, apparently every film and documentary short except The Only Girl in the Orchestra is very depressing. I don't know that. That's just what I've heard from people that have seen the films. So
Okay.
I kind of just want to vote for that. Or, well, not vote for that, but rather, predict that.
Okay. Well, I'll pick Incident just because I want my
You know, the
I want to see Bill Morrison. I think Bill Morrison's from Chicago too. I follow him on Instagram. Our our
what?
our friend Ben, he's always for whatever reason he's just like sent me Bill Morrison Instagram posts over the years, and I'll just like forget who he even is, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, I follow him on Instagram. Instagram is kind of funny like that. You can follow like people that are total geniuses that nobody knows. I mean, I'm following Simon Leong's lead actor on Instagram, and it's just incredible. Lee Kong Shang, who's one of
Lee
the
Kong
greatest
Chang.
actors to ever live. I'll send you his Instagram later. He's always dripped up with his.
Ooh,
He'll be wearing like sunglasses and stuff, but he's been in like almost every Simon Leong movie over like 30 years, and
damn.
he's his Instagram is pretty cool. Those types of Instagrams I follow. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep going.
No,
So
you're
anyway,
good.
what's the next? So
I
we're
think
just
next
gonna.
week.
So we're on documentary short, and then we're gonna do live action. Does it say? It doesn't say the favorite for live action either.
So the favorite is between Alien and The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent. Alien is more, the subject matter is more illegal immigrants, or I don't know if that's specifically, but immigration in general.
Oh, Alien is like
Yeah,
wow. It's
I think it's like Alien, but they're saying like they're using a space. I'm not sure, but there's a whole
interesting because yeah,
other idea that
I'm on the Oscar site, and it also has a
right.
space. So
Yeah,
it
there's
seems
a
like
whole
that's the
other
actual title.
idea that like with the shorts that people, because there are probably a lot of people that vote for the Oscars in the short categories that just don't see the shorts, I would imagine. And they just see like a interesting title like that and they go, "Oh, okay, sure."
I
Unless they leave it blank. I don't know if you can leave it
think it's
blank
very
and
likely people just don't vote for some of these categories, but
right.
okay, let's move on. So whatever's going to win in that category, Godspeed. I'm sure they'll give a very moving speech. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So what's a more real category? Don't they start with like supporting actress, supporting actors?
They
Isn't that how the night usually starts?
they do, but I think those are just such a lock because Zoe Saldana and Kieran Culkin have not lost any award
Okay, so yeah, we can just cover
televised.
those really quick. I mean, yeah, I didn't hate honestly my 2 cents on Amelia Perez was everyone was telling me it's like the worst movie ever is like what people
Right.
were
I
telling
heard
me.
that too. I heard that too.
And um it wasn't as bad as I expected, to be honest, just because my take on it is I kind of think this filmmaker Jacques Audiard, and it's interesting because he won the Palme d'Or for Deepon a couple years ago, and he made a movie called A Prophet, which is very beloved among a lot of people. Which I have not seen either of those movies. I've heard mixed things about Deepon, but everyone says A Prophet is really good. Um, Point I'm making is that it seems like I kind of think that he was trying to make almost a Pedro Almodovar type of movie. I really see it the way that there's the transition between when the cartel guy becomes a different person. That first 30 to 40 minutes, I didn't hate it, as in I was entertained for the most part. And what I would say about Zoe Saldana is that I thought that like technically it is impressive a lot of the stuff she was doing as far as like singing, dancing, and I thought her performance was pretty good. I just
No,
thought
I
that
mean she's
I,
the best part of the film is like the
yeah,
argument for her Oscar win.
Yeah, and I think the lead wasn't bad either. It's just that I think the script is just a complete dumpster fire. Uh, I was saying this to Sean, and it's so true. What's so hilarious about someone trying to make a fucking musical is that if you mess up one little minute detail of a musical at any point, you just like fuck up your entire like existence. Like the whole movie just sucks if you like fuck up anything.
No,
Like
I
if you
get
mess
that.
up the small, and here's the thing too, is it's like a momentum thing. So the thing in Amelia Perez is like 30 to 40 minutes in, I was like, wow, people are really trashing this movie, but this is like really funny and kind of wild, and it's definitely trying to be a type of movie I've never seen. It's trying to be original, like it has the ambition to be original, but then it just has these
Sure.
tremendous plot holes that are just shocking. Like I have
Well,
no idea why Amelia Perez was able to get back into her like family's life. Like that didn't make any sense at all.
well, there's a lot of scenes where it's not just jump cutting in time where it says 4 years later. It just there are these scenes which I argue are initially interesting, and then it just kind of fades to black really quickly.
Right.
And I don't know
Well,
if you
some of
saw
the
the
set
the
pieces, some
I
of
don't know
like
if
the
you saw
dancing
the
and stuff, I
Joker.
didn't hate. Sorry, what you were talking about,
Uh,
Joker?
yeah, well, I would kind of compare it to that where like the musical numbers in it or the dancing and everything doesn't it could be better without it almost. I would think Amelia Perez would still not be that great of a film without the
Right.
musical numbers, but I would say it makes it worse.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with musicals. It's like it's already.
Yeah.
I don't know. And here's the thing, and I was being a little. I was just joking around in the when I was first talking on this, but I like musicals. I think the cool thing about the Oscars is when they can. I what I really love is I love a nice eclectic list of stuff. So I don't mind if there's a musical in a year, like giving it its props, which seems to be the case with Wicked. And I've not seen Wicked, but I've actually heard that Wicked is really good for what it is. And it seems
Yeah.
like a similar impulse for nominating Amelia Perez. And I think the voters who have seen Amelia Perez, I think those people genuinely love the performances. And they're, I don't know, it might be up for debate how good Selena Gomez is in the movie, but I feel like she brings a lot of star power, so I appreciated her being in the movie,
Yeah.
where I kind of was I appreciated that angle to it. So I was a lot nicer to it than I expected myself to be, but the ending was just insanely bad and hilarious, and it again, I'm
Yeah.
not the type of person that watches stuff because it's so bad it's good. I like really don't do that. But this was a case of a movie that I wanted to see just because everyone has an opinion on it, and it really was hilarious. I mean, I had a great time watching it, which I did not expect. Because usually, if I see a movie and I don't like it or I don't think it's good, I won't have a good time. But
It
to its
sucks.
credit,
Yeah. It's
I
yeah.
I I had a good time with it. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know the other. Oh yeah, so I guess Ariana Grande. Well, I definitely think Felicity Jones is the best of these nominations, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna watch a Complete Unknown. I mean, fuck Timothy Chalamet, Jesus.
Oh my god. Let's
Let's
go.
get this thing. Let's get this out. I mean, the people voted for shit talking Zach. God damn it, Timothy Chalamet. God damn it.
Oh, winning SAG and like
We haven't
threatening
even got. Let's wait to go into
yeah,
that.
we
But
should. We should.
I just saw this person's name who's like best supporting for a Complete Unknown. So yeah, we'll go Zoe Saldana. I don't. Again, Felicity Jones should win, but I thought Zoe Saldana was great, even though the movie sucked. So I don't
Yeah.
have a
I mean
problem
that
with her winning.
and obviously I the argument that people have made for her to predict her is that Amelia Perez is kind of sinking with the ship, and
Right.
it almost kind of actually helps Zoe Saldana
Right.
because with all the controversy and the tweets, is people have been saying like, well, I mean, she's got nothing to do with that, so you almost kind of feel
Yeah.
bad for her. But yeah, she's winning. It's locked.
Yeah, so supporting actor is actually pretty deep. This is pretty interesting. Some of these nominations. I mean, again, I haven't seen the A Real Pain. I don't know if I would watch it. I don't really know what it's about. I know Jesse Eisenberg like probably wrote it and directed it or something. But
Yeah,
Kieran, what I'll say is I just watched Succession back in basically last year, and I don't know. Have you ever seen Succession?
I have not, but my sister really loves it.
Oh my god, you would love it. You would
Yeah,
watch it, and you
people have
would
been telling me. I don't know. I get turned off when people are like, "You have to see this. You have to see this" all the time. But
right.
I've been getting that a
No,
lot.
it's legit like the best acting possible. The acting is shockingly good, and the writing is really good. But Kieran Culkin is just a lunatic. I mean, he's one of those people that you can just tell he he's just has a different like gear as a performer. So him winning, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I assume that he's amazing in the movie. But I think part of it is just like he was so good in Succession. He was so insanely like funny, and it just seems improvisational almost. He's so quick and insane, and it's really cool that him and Jeremy Strong are both nominated in the same year. It's really a testament to how stacked that ensemble for Succession was. That Jeremy Strong was amazing in The Apprentice. I mean, I had relatively normal expectations for The Apprentice, and I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was a pretty enjoyable movie. I mean, do I think someone can make a movie about Trump that would be better? 100%. Someone can do that. I mean, we might need a couple decades before someone comes in and actually makes a movie that, you know, has a different perspective in a way where you're not just, I don't know. But I felt like the movie was pretty, you said you thought it was a little critical of Trump, but I thought it was pretty like it definitely was at times. There were some scenes where I'm like, okay, this is definitely the Hollywood jabs that you would like expect, but I thought it was reasonably removed, all things considered. Compared to some of the other stuff they made a couple years ago that wasn't even nominated for Oscars, but in that like timeline, it did seem a little bit more looking at him as a character rather than bashing you over the head on, you know, we hate this guy and like this movie is going to be about the evil incarnate. To me it was just like a scummy real estate guy, and I think that's pretty accurate to the era. And I know a lot about not a lot about the relationship, but uh what's his name, the guy that Jeremy Strong is playing.
Roy
Roy
Cohn.
Roy Cohn is quite a character, and a lot of that is true. I mean, he really was kind of a mentor for Trump, and if you really want to get into it, I mean, Roy Cohn was. I mean, he was a closeted gay man, so he basically learned how to blackmail people, and because people were blackmailing him, and he was more or less intelligent, and he was working with McCarthy and the McCarthy stuff, and he was always kind of a he knew where the bodies were buried. So the idea about how he helped Trump, and again, the movie does this in a very superficial way, but the more complex and historically accurate way to explain this is, this is also just speculating too, but it's very likely that Roy Cohn taught Donald Trump how to blackmail people. I mean, just the fact that Trump has been able to ascend in politics despite having like
Yeah,
Epstein connections. Roy Cohn was an expert at blackmailing. So the movie kind of hints at that, but again, there's a better movie to be made for sure, and that's obviously a whole other subject. Edward Norton, I don't know what he does in a complete unknown. We'll move on from that. I fucking
yeah.
loved your Borisov and
That would
Anora.
be
He
my
was
vote.
amazing.
That would be my vote to win that for sure.
Well, I would pick Guy Pearce just because he was so funny in the screening I saw of The Brutalist, and people were just
Yeah,
laughing so hard. But the Russian dude, I'm so glad that he's nominated for an Oscar. I mean, I didn't even think that was going to happen when I saw the movie, but
yeah,
he was great. It's loaded. A supporting actor is loaded, and I do think I think the way I would look at this, sure, I'll watch a Real Pain just to see if I'm right about this. I think Kieran Culkin is definitively the best actor of these names, as in just pure talent. Where is he going? Where has he been? He is. okay, I mean Edward Norton is kind of a legendary actor, but Kieran Culkin, I don't know. I think he has kind of that like Robert Downey Jr. quick twitch, sort of quick speaking vibe, you know. So I would be
Yeah,
shocked if we've seen anything out of. I mean, I think he probably could be in 20 more movies in the coming years that will just completely he'll just be way better. I mean, he'll be like in the next Scorsese or something. You know what I mean? He'll be in the next Scorsese. He'll work with Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, he'll work with everybody in the next 5 years. So I highly doubt this is going to be the best performance of his career, but I'm sure it's probably still a good performance. But yeah, I personally, yeah, Guy Pearce or Yura Borisov.
for sure.
Any other thoughts on the
Um,
supporting actors? It's kind of obvious those
nah,
picks.
yeah, it's obvious. I'll move on to uh, it goes a little bit back to Amelia Perez, but best international feature. Do we think that I'm Still Here is going to just bump in over all this Amelia Perez hate, like post Oscar nominations, or
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think if you're nominated for like 13 Oscars or whatever, or 12 Oscars as Amelia Perez is, it seems as though the writing is on the wall that it's guaranteed
yeah,
international because the Oscar people, they love to pat themselves on the back when they really get invested in a foreign film. And it's great. The idea of them picking the worst foreign film is kind of par for the course. But they've picked some really great movies over the years, which is really touching to me. Whenever there's a movie like Michael Haneke's Amour, for example, or Drive My Car
yeah,
was incredible. I mean, Drive My Car was the best depiction of Murakami, this genius writer, this genius writer who a lot of people love. He's very very well known, but the best film. I mean, I don't think I've seen another a movie adapted from his work, but the Drive My Car was just pure Murakami. It was kind of it was incredible. It was honestly incredible, and Amour is like one of the greatest movies ever, in
right.
my opinion.
Well,
Michael Haneke and
I think those were both nominated also for Best Picture, and I think this is the only year we
yeah,
had two
exactly.
foreign films nominated for Best Picture.
Oh,
So
there's
that's what
two this year.
I'm still here. Let me scroll up here. I'm pretty sure it's nominated. Yeah, it's nominated for Best Picture as well. So I think it's the
God,
first year
God,
too.
I had
So
no
that's
idea.
kind of given me some pause with maybe
Oh
there's
yeah,
this
yeah. You might be right then. If that's the case, I'm Still Here might actually win. I didn't even know
because I
that.
mean Fernando Torres took the Golden Globe for drama. Although you can argue later, Mikey and Demi were nominated in comedy, so they've been battling it the whole year. But it
Right.
does give me some pause, like trying to think of like what is going to win international because I would stick to Amelia Perez, but obviously if like this if the freaking disdain for this movie just continues to ride and they announce I'm Still Here, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be like, oh crap, here we go.
Well, it's hilarious that the reason that Amelia Perez is getting all this shit isn't for the right reasons. It's not because the movie sucks ass. The it's because the lead is like mouthing off on online. Imagine
Yeah.
okay, so there's a couple of levels to this, right? I'm not on Twitter. God, thank Jesus that I didn't get on Twitter. That would be so stupid. If I oh my God, the ultimate like app where people are just shit talking each other and trying to get into fights and all this stuff. Oh my God, I don't need that. I definitely have a temper, and it's taken me years to just relax. But this woman should not be on Twitter. That's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, if you really have the
Yeah.
impulse to if you're really mad at George Floyd, I think you should probably just tell that to some friends and maybe don't tweet that. Maybe see maybe see how your friends react first before going on Twitter
I'm
about the
thinking about
refugee
I'm thinking about
crisis.
tweeting this. Do you think I should send it? Do you think I should send it? No, it's an 81-foot shot and it's only the second quarter. Don't do that. Like, what are you doing?
Well, was she there's no way she was famous or anything in 2018, right? Is she just a completely is this her first role?
It's not her first role, but this is her first, big spotlight. For
Do you have any
sure.
idea when she broke out? I mean, obviously this is her breakout, but
Yeah, I was digging at her IMDb page, and it was very recently. Like, definitely, like, yeah, it's more recent than you would imagine.
no,
I
that is what I would imagine, to be honest. That it was within the last like 3 or 4 years that she probably had her first role in like but who even knows? Anyway, we don't have to keep just constantly talking about it.
No,
It's
you're
like
good.
but it's such a funny story. It's like, oh my god, a trans woman who just loves to talk about George Floyd on Twitter. I mean, the Oscars, they really they really karmically summoned this situation for themselves, I think. It's like you can't thought police the people you're trying to prop up. You know what I mean? Like, give the movie the awards. If you really like the movie, give it the awards. Who cares what she said on Twitter? But if she said crazy shit on Twitter and you were just pretending to like the movie, don't start pretending like the movie's bad. If you like the
Yeah,
movie, say you like the movie, but don't act like you're gonna thought police every actor on every movie and what they've ever tweeted. I mean, that's just crazy. So, what's her name again?
Carlos Sofia Gascon.
Uh, um, wait, what was that?
Carlos Sofia Gascon.
Yeah. So yeah, we're team Gascon here on the Half of God's Face podcast.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say that right now. We agree with
no,
everything
dude,
she's ever tweeted. No, I'm just
dude.
joking around.
Well, she did do a great job in the film, but I think, but we,
Yeah,
we we should move
maybe
on to
went a little far with the tweets.
Yeah, that's a reasonable take. We're on to animated feature. This is really just between Wild Robot and Flow. Uh, Wallace and Gromit won at BAFTA, which is funny because it's freaking
It's just
British.
because it's
But
British, right?
yeah, absolutely. Um,
I mean, Jesus. I mean, and talk about another group of people that just have never done anything right. I'm just joking around once again.
no, you're good.
Yeah.
Um,
So the Wild Robot or Flow? I'll say Flow
yeah,
because
I'm
people are
I'm
watching it.
I'm going Wild Robot
Okay.
just
Moving on.
because
No.
Jesus
What were you
Christ.
saying?
Well, it has a score nomination, I think, right? Yeah, there's a score and a sound
Does it
nomination as an
really?
animated film, and uh, Flow just has it has international, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you convinced me. The Wild Robot it is.
Well, I mean, Boy and the
Okay,
Heron
don't go
versus
back on it. Don't
Spider-Man.
go back on yourself here.
I'm not going back. I'm just saying,
We're
like,
locking. We're locking in. We're locking in.
no, this is a point.
I will delete the podcast tomorrow if you talk back to me, Austin. Jesus. What was that?
Are you serious?
No, I'm just we're just killing time, having a great old time with the Amelia Perez show here. The only movie that exists now. Did I ever tell you? I probably did tell you that when Barbie and Oppenheimer were out, and again, people voted for shit talking Zach, so that's what they're gonna get. And Barbie and Oppenheimer, when they came out, it was like no other movie had ever come out before. And the only movies anyone could talk about. I remember I would be either at like a show or like at a bar, and
Oh, did you
somehow,
see Oppenheimer? You
exactly.
did tell me
And
this. Like, somebody at the bar was like, Barbie was great, and you're like,
no, but it's
oh
worse
yeah.
than that. It's worse than that. It would either be someone volunteering to someone else that, oh, that's my friend Zach. He went to film school. He loves movies. And then the next thing the person says is, "What did you think of Oppenheimer?" And I swear to God, or anytime I'd be like in an Uber, be like, "Oh, you're going to a movie?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to a movie." They'd be like, "Oh, what movie?" I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, it's this movie that's like a French movie." And they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool. Did you see Barbie?" It
Yeah,
was
it's
the
hard. It's hard not to bite your tongue and or just lie and be like, "Oh yeah, I hated it," even though it wasn't that bad. You'd be like, "Yeah, I vomited. I
no,
like
yeah, and
left
I
the
didn't even,
theater."
dude, I didn't even see Barbie, but at one point, I remember I was at this. So literally, I was at this 49ers bar with Nico, a friend of the podcast,
Yeah.
Nico Robledo. And it was me, Nico, and Eamon. We were at this 49ers bar, and this guy was talking to them. And Nico at one point said, we all went to Columbia, and whatever. And at a certain point, Nico said, "Oh yeah, my friend Zach, he went to film school." And the guy like looked at me, and he's like, "What did you think of Barbie?" And I'm like, "Bro, we're in my head. I couldn't believe that a guy literally he was dressed 49ers gear. Everybody was dressed in 49ers gear. Every time they got a first down, they would do like a chant. They'd be like, "Oh, oh, oh." So he's doing shit like that. And then he literally looks me in the eyes and says, "What did you think of Barbie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't see it." And the look of disappointment on a grown man's face, I mean, he probably had a beard. I don't even remember what he looked like, but just a grown man in a 49ers jersey pounding the table when they get a first down is disappointed I didn't see Barbie. And then he
Yeah.
has this split second where he was just like, "Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. It was pretty good."
Is he
And
still
I was like,
alive? Because they did lose the Super Bowl in dramatic fashion, so I wouldn't be
"Oh
surprised for
yeah,
like, yeah, he
no,
put
yeah."
both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth that year.
No, he's dead for sure. Oh my god. No, legit. No, I was saying this on the live stream last year, but we're gonna bring it back. Uh Greta Gerwig has Noah Baumbach in a gimp suit. Okay, I'm
You
saying it
can't do
now.
this again.
I'm
You
going on the
can't do this
record.
again.
Get over here, Noah. No, he co-wrote the script. Noah Baumbach has never done anything remotely like Barbie before, so I'm sure that's a healthy, money-driven, greed obsessed relationship. Anyway, back to the 2025 Oscars. Um, After animated film, what do we got next, Austin? After animated film,
All right, so after animated film, I want to go to visual effects, which is kind of going to be
so good.
boring, but at least it's something we can get by really quickly. I don't see anything beating Dune Part 2. I don't know, do you? I can say the nominees if you want, but
Wait, who's nominated? Who did the visual effects for Dune Part Two?
um, so we
Does it
got
say?
Paul Lambert, Stephen James, Riz Salcombe, and Gerd Nesver. Sorry if I pronounce any of those wrong.
Oh yeah, I got it up now. That's interesting because I told you how I met John Nelson a couple years ago, right?
No. Or
I think
if you
John
did,
Nelson.
I apologize if you did, I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's a stupid question to ask because I've definitely told you this like 10 times, but you know what I'm talking about. He's the guy who did the special effects for Blade Runner
Yeah,
2049,
yeah, yeah. Okay, now
and
yeah, now I know it.
he
Okay.
was doing a little master class at the Ann Arbor Film Festival. And I can go into this classic story another time, but yeah, he's always at the Ann Arbor Film Festival because he's from Michigan. And yeah, I thought maybe he worked on Dune, but I guess not. But yeah, he won for Blade Runner 2049, and he won the Oscar for, or I don't know if he actually won the Oscar, but he did the special effects for Terminator 2. So I mean, some of the most iconic special effects, Iron Man. He did the special effects for Iron Man, John Nelson. So no, too bad he's not nominated for that. Yeah, no, yeah, it's gonna be Dune Part Two. That's kind of a guarantee. So what's
Fair.
after special effects?
So next we're gonna go to sound, which I have Dune Part 2 winning right now, but we got a complete unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and the Wild Robot. I can see possibly also a complete unknown winning here, just like, well, I guess really if we think the Oscars going to just spread the wealth, like everyone gets something besides Nickel Boys, but
Yeah, but doesn't a movie like Dune doesn't it usually win stuff like sound?
it does, and that's why I still
I don't
have it.
remember the last time a movie with about folk music won sound at the Oscars. Usually it's like a science fiction film, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's a yeah. God, you're really just talking me out of the upset. The more, but if I guess if a complete unknown won, I would be like, well, they're just giving it its one win.
Right.
Although maybe if we'll get to this later, but
I mean,
maybe
it could win Best Actor, maybe.
right. Like, so if we see it win sound early, we might be like, oh shit. But yeah, I think, which is funny because Chalamet's in both these freaking movies. But
Right.
yeah,
No,
I think it's
in defense of Chalamet, I've heard he's good in A Complete Unknown. But I actually have heard, I haven't read Dune, but I've heard that he is kind of a perfect person to cast in Dune as far as that character. Should he play Bob Dylan? I don't know. I don't know. I do not care. I do not care
fair.
about. I mean, it's like the more I drink, the more Tony Soprano's voice is in my head saying crazy things.
You going to give the fucking activated Chalamet? What are you doing? He's only 29. Cocksuckers. Yeah, that's a bastardization of the impression, but the words are
Yeah,
there.
because he always brings up Gary Cooper, which is hilarious because Gary Cooper is like
Yep.
one of the greatest actors to ever live. And if you watch 10 movies starring Gary Cooper from like the 30s and 40s, you just get the most thorough education on what Tony Soprano was talking about, but what acting used to mean. And it's like what he says, he's a strong silent type. It's it's the moral upstanding man, or it's the anti-hero. Like Humphrey Bogart was a little bit more of like the anti-hero, let's say, but Gary Cooper was the upstanding moral figure, and he was perfect. He would clean shit up in a Western. He would be in a World War II movie, or
Yep.
he could be in like a romantic comedy. And I don't know. I mean, this gets into a whole conversation about
No, you're good.
as far as actors and acting and all this stuff. And I don't necessarily have a problem with what's the term for Chalamet? He's a twink. I don't have a problem with twinks necessarily.
Yeah, I get that.
You
I
have a split second. You're like, I don't know if he's supposed to be called that, but
don't know, but like I know what you're saying.
I don't have a problem with it. But when you start casting this like this guy who like looks like he's like 19 in every movie, and then it just doesn't really like work half the time. It's like a role that they're just forcing him into, and he's just such a big star. I think people just start disliking him for that reason. But I think people usually pretty much like Timothy Chalamet, but I don't know. I prefer Humphrey Bogart, to be honest. Gun to my head, I think I'm taking Bogart on the greatest actors of all time list. I know that's a controversial opinion to have in 2025 that Timothy Chalamet is not good.
No, you're
But
good.
anyway, not to get to him
No,
so
you're
quickly.
good.
But outside of sound, what are we after sound?
Best original song: El Mal from Emilia Perez, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and then Who Gives a Shit after that? It's probably El Mal, which is weird because that's the I don't know
Which
if you know
song
what
was
song.
that?
I can explain it to you. It's called The Evil in Espanol, so I'm assuming that's the
The bad. El
yeah,
Mal.
I'm assuming that's a scene when Amelia Perez is giving like the speech to like the politicians and people, and she's just like breaking out, like explaining all the
Yeah.
corruption.
Oh, that actually
Which
is that scene.
yeah, I haven't. That's I guess I've only heard the two from Amelia Perez, but that's
Which
I
one
mean,
is Mi Camino? Which song was that in the movie?
dude, I can't even.
Oh
I
my
don't even
god.
know. But El Mal hasn't really lost in song, so
Interesting.
yeah, I'm assuming Amelia Perez picks this up here.
Oh yeah,
I
that's the favorite.
It is. Oh, for sure. I would be. I would almost put like my super bet on it that it wouldn't lose.
Yeah, I do get that.
All right, you're muted. So I'll talk about the.
I don't even
Yeah, you
I
heard it.
literally was listening to it for like 2 seconds. I have no idea what song that was.
Yeah. All right.
No, I didn't
Um.
dislike the El Mal sequence. I thought that was a cool scene when she's like dancing on the tables and stuff.
Yeah.
I like that
She's
scene. I
like.
mean, that was definitely a cool scene. the movie is difficult to make. I mean, the production end of Amelia Perez. I mean, how do you do half the sequences? There's like hundreds of extras. Like the opening scene, I'm like, wow, this might be a good movie, and then it just had no ability to keep up that momentum. I mean, if you're gonna make an outside the box musical, you probably should aim at 90 minutes. That's just my pro tip. Two
Yeah.
hours 10. I don't know. Funny enough, this
Yeah,
could connect in with editing. By the way, are we there yet, or is there another ones you're about to say?
there's a few, but we could like. Well, I think we should save editing for later because I think that really ties into like what's going to win Best
Okay.
Picture.
So what's next is makeup and hairstyling.
Well, next I have a score.
Oh, okay.
So we got The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I have The Brutalist winning.
Is that the favorite, or is that what you're predicting?
Both. It is the favorite, and I'm predicting it to
Oh,
win,
sick.
and I want it to win. Everything. But this is another thing where, like, if Conclave wins early, I'm going to be like, all right, we got a change of pace here.
Yeah. No, we haven't even brought up Conclave, but what
Yeah,
was the
we'll get
score
there.
of Conclave? I don't even remember the music.
Bum 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 bum
Oh yeah.
bum 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 bum.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I thought
and
Conclave was okay. The ending was crazy. I have no idea how I'm supposed to interpret that ending, but I just wasn't like locked into it. I mean, I was like laughing my ass off watching Amelia Perez, and I was entertained by Amelia Perez, even though I definitely think Conclave is a better made movie. The ending is so crazy that
yeah,
I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know why. I'm surprised people are so high on it, but I guess it is. It kind of connects to our brutalist conversation where we were talking about movies with crazy endings. Does the ending like ruin the movie? And to me, I didn't
sure.
think Conclave was being very ambitious. I mean, going back to our brutalist conversation, I really didn't get a sense that Conclave was really going as far as it could have. I mean, there was aspects of it where I did understand why this movie is so loved, and it's really
Yeah.
it is well made on like I was saying about Amelia Perez. The performances in Conclave are definitely really good. I mean, I think Ray Fiennes especially is very good.
Oh, he's amazing.
Isabel Rossellini, I mean, I hardly remember her having any impact on the movie at all. So I don't know why she's
Yeah,
nominated.
because
But
she's in it for like 28 seconds, I believe.
oh my god, I mean, I think it might be her
That's
first.
an
I think it
exaggeration,
might
but
be her
yeah.
first Oscar nomination too.
Really?
I heard that
May
somewhere. Which in that case, I'm happy for her, but it's weird because it seems kind of one of those characters that I just don't even remember them having any kind of impact. But yeah, I don't remember the score. I thought Conclave was kind of there are scenes that I liked more than others, but if gun to my head, is this the best movie that can be made on a pope being named? I don't think the answer is yes. I don't think that's the greatest example of this incredible. I mean, it's an incredible subject. It's an incredible subject to
Sure.
make a movie about. So by definition, you can't just assume that 90% of a movie being pretty vanilla, pretty normal, and then a crazy ending. Is that really like a cutting take on this, right? And there's aspects of it that felt like satire. I was just talking to a friend about this. There were aspects of that ending that felt like satire, which maybe if I rewatched the movie, I would like it a little bit more if I was a little bit more prepared as far as it shifting to a very satirical tone. But I don't know, it didn't really seem to dig underneath the surface for me as far as I mean, because you could go really dark too with the church. You could make a really dark movie with that story, and it would be way more compelling. And again, it just seemed very a little too conventional for me as far as there was
Yeah.
very little imagination. And then when they did, start to like think outside. When they did really try to push, they came up with a really bizarre ending that I wasn't sure exactly how that was supposed to resolve, the plot. But yeah, let's say The Brutalist. I was just, if I was just firing from the hip, I would have just said Wicked for a score. But if you're saying The Brutalist is the favorite, then God bless.
Yeah, I think it's memorable. I think we can bang. I think in terms of the production design and the costume, I think we can bang those out pretty quickly because I think they're both going to be Wicked. They're favored to win.
Okay, damn. That kind of
So
sucks
I
that The
mean,
Brutalist did they bring back production design or what? They had a different award at one point.
Brutalist is nominated,
I mean, you would think that
but
that would.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I haven't seen Wicked, but if it's the favorite, then yeah, that makes sense. Production. Okay, yeah, Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part Two, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Yeah, Wicked's probably gonna win, but I mean, The Brutalist should win for production design.
oh, absolutely. I mean, the freaking, the
The building.
what's her the his grandma? Yeah, his grandma's freaking. Yeah, the Van Buren estate. Yeah, yeah, that's. A, I, I can't talk about it.
And then
Um,
what was the other one you said? Because it used to be, I think it used to be art decoration that used to be an Oscar nomination.
yeah, and then they kind of split it up a bit.
Wasn't it art decoration? So production design, that's been around for a while, or was that under art decoration for a while?
I think it was. I think it's like I'm not sure, but it's definitely like 2000s was
Okay.
has had them
We're
split.
going pretty nuts and bolts here when one of the people having this conversation in this podcast remembers art decoration as an Oscar nomination. But that's the reality, folks. That's the reality. Me and Austin have been following this satanic adrenochrome drinking event for our entire lives. And here we are, grown ass men still talking about it. Very cool. So, anyway, continue, Austin. Outside of production design,
Another one that's I think is pretty easy to hint at is makeup. I have the Substance winning. It's nominated
really,
also with Wicked,
substance.
Nosferatu.
I just thought when there's a person
Yeah,
that's green, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Wicked because the chick is green,
no,
and that's like not difficult to
no.
do. Like,
The Substance has won makeup everywhere. I don't
oh,
see it
okay. I was
freaking.
gonna say, wouldn't that be hilarious? Like, I'm the guy that's just an expert on makeup. I'm like, how did they paint her green? I'm just the makeup expert, just being a complete fucking idiot.
That hasn't happened before. This has never been achieved.
Oh my god,
Why
she's
aren't we
so
paying
green.
attention to this?
A new achievement in filmmaking,
She's
green.
flying, dude.
She's flying.
Anyway, now I think we're getting to the fucking nitty gritty. Well, I guess next I would go cinematography just because I think that's going to be Brutalist too. We
Oh,
also
thank
have Dune
God.
Part Two, Emilia Perez, Maria. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. That might make me ignorant. I don't know. Nosferatu also got in there.
Did you see Nosferatu?
I did. Did you?
No, I didn't. But I heard there was um a vampire dick or something.
Yeah, in like the first 30 minutes, Skarsgård stands up and you do see Dracula dick for sure. Like it kind of like
Interesting move.
mimicking the scene when he's like in his own
Okay.
uh
Okay.
casket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm okay. Okay. I have my private thoughts that I
I
won't
mean,
share here. No, I heard.
this is my only persuasion, to quote the Brutalist.
No, I did hear good things about Nosferatu, all things considered. And yeah, cinematography, you would think it. Yeah, I mean, even from this list, I think the Brutalist would win. To be honest, I think
It,
it's.
yeah, the only thing it lost to was actually Nosferatu at
Oh
I believe the
God.
Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who cares about that? They're the B team of
Fair.
adrenochrome Satanists in Hollywood.
I mean,
Golden Globes are like
Nosferatu does suck the blood from some children in the movie, so I don't know. Like
that's cool.
that's not.
Yeah, Critics' Choice. I mean, I've watched that before over the years, but I don't know. I don't know what's been going on with that award show.
Yeah.
Uh, there's I think the Golden Globes are a little bit more consistent as far as if something wins the Gold Globes. I think that's a pretty good tracker for the Oscars, and then all the other stuff kind of gets chaotic because like we were saying, the BAFTAs are they always want to like do something where they're like, oh yeah, Britain, here's the British movie that's nominated, so we'll give that the award. And
Yeah, I mean
BAFTAs aren't
I
really
think
that
some
serious. SAG is kind of similar. SAG will just have horrific snubs. Didn't they not nominate Felicity Jones or Guy Pearce?
that is correct. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. The Oscar nominations aren't necessarily great. I mean, we had I would say we had another great year for film. I mean, 2023 was super stacked, but 2024 was stacked. But it just comes down to like, what are you looking for? And just in terms of American film, I mean, I definitely did have Anora in my top. If you're just specifically talking about movies that were made in America, I definitely would say The Brutalist is in that conversation. No one's going to nominate Megalopolis. That's going to get like Razzies probably, even though I loved it.
It got nominated for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think, yeah, I would say Brutalist, Megalopolis, Anora. Have you heard of The Sweet East?
I have not.
Dude, you got to watch that. That's that was one of the best American films I've seen in years. It's starring Simon Rex, and he was in Red Rocket. And I don't know if you've seen Red Rocket, but that was the movie that really showed me that Sean Baker was actually the man. I was never like obsessed with Sean Baker, but when I saw Red Rocket, I was super impressed. Simon Rex is the dude from like the Scary Movies. He was in Scary Movie 3. He was the
Oh
guy
yeah.
that I think he was with like the blonde chick, and he would have scenes with Charlie Sheen, and he is just a larger than life personality. He's gone on podcasts and stuff, and he's so funny. He's like he has the best stories of oh my god, he just has endless stories, and he's so funny and such a great actor. So in the Sweet East, he plays like a white supremacist in the Sweet East, and
Oh my
he's
god.
trying to he's kind of hanging out with this young chick who's probably 18 or 19, and she's the lead. And it's basically this story of this young chick bouncing around all these different characters. And it's kind of like a satire about America in a lot of ways, but it's so funny. He's kind of trying to tell her that he's a white nationalist without giving her the ick. And she's just her performance is hilarious because she's just very she doesn't really give men who are giving her money and stuff, she doesn't give them anything. She doesn't really give them a reaction. She'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like she's just very removed. She'll hang out with people that are radically so she's hanging out with like a white nationalist Simon Rex character, and then she'll hang out with like black people and like Arabs, and she's hanging out with everyone the whole movie and is very like removed the whole time. And it's a magical movie. It's really funny, and it's really cutting in and then the filmmaking is incredible. But yeah, if you watch that, I guarantee you would love it. You would be like, this is one of the best movies
Damn.
I've seen in years. The cast is amazing.
Damn.
Io is in it. Io Edaberry, who I uh
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw a rumor that she's in the new Barney movie.
Oh dude, we gotta see that
Yeah, I
then.
was I was flipping my fucking shit earlier when I saw that. When I heard
I was
about
like, oh my
yeah, exactly. No, so she's in the Sweet East, and then I think Jacob Elordi, who's like a big star, who's not a very good actor, but he's also in the movie. He's not that bad in the Sweet East, but anyway, let's keep moving. So after cinematography,
All right. After cinematography, I have up next editing. This is like Yeah, this is it. So we got Nora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. I have Conclave winning,
Oh
although
God.
I think I think it's won the most precursor awards besides the Oscar beforehand, but good gosh, I mean, this is the one where I I think that it really is a hint at what is to come after all these awards on Oscar night
Okay.
in terms of Honora versus Conclave.
So you really think that's going to be the best picture, like the leaders now?
Honora and Conclave for sure. Yeah, I do.
Damn. So you don't think you think the Brutalist is just completely taken out of the race now because of this AI thing?
I don't think it's because of the AI thing. I just think
It
like
just lost
it would have won
momentum.
at BAFTA.
Well, again,
It
BAFTA
lost
doesn't mean
Producers
shit. I
Guild.
don't think.
Well, it lost Producers Guild. It lost Critics' Choice. And what's weird about Critics' Choice
Well,
is
it could be
Honora won
Nora.
Critics' Choice. But what's weird is Honora won Producers Guild and Critics' Choice, and Critics' Choice was its only win for Best Picture. It won nothing else besides Best Picture.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And I mean, granted, it Brady Corbet won director at. Yeah, this is where it opens up for sure. Brady Corbet won director at
Well,
BAFTA,
it could be a
but
Nora.
I see.
It could be a Nora. Honestly, I mean, it feels like the Oscars are getting more lined up with the Cannes Film Festival over the years, even though
Yeah,
Cannes, and I'm sure we're going to do, I was thinking about this recently. In a couple of months, we can easily do a Cannes coverage episode just because it's really cool to track what's coming out of Cannes and what wins the awards and all that. We won't do like a prediction. We can do like a reaction probably, or we can even like, maybe we'll have an episode where we just casually bring up stuff that's premiering at Cannes.
yeah,
But the reaction will be cool because, you know, 12 months ago, right? Honora won the Palme d'Or. And here now we're talking
yeah,
about it winning Best Picture. You see what I mean? And I didn't I
yeah.
didn't think that was going to happen. I mean, I thought that Red Rocket. There were rumors that Red Rocket was going to get Oscar nominated. It did get it. I don't think it got anything. So
I don't think it did either. You're right.
Sean Baker, Sean Baker has been poised at times to be an Oscar darling, but yeah, maybe it's an aura. Maybe. I mean,
Well, yeah. What's weird? I don't know if we want to get into like the best picture because editing. I really think whatever wins editing
right.
has a really good shot at winning picture. But
You know what's interesting?
um,
Sean told me this. Do you know who David Jonksko is?
is he? He's the editor of the Brutalist,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Apparently he's the son of Miklos Jonkso, who is the godfather of Hungarian cinema. Miklos Jonkso.
Oh my God! Yeah, he was he the red and the white,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
am I
The red and the
tripping?
white. Yeah, and then the
Oh my
Roundup.
God!
That's literally his
Oh my
son who's
God!
nominated for an Oscar. I had no idea myself. And Sean told me that. I was like,
That's
God damn.
insane.
Yeah, no, Miklos Jonkso was Bellatar's idol. And at one point, Miklos Jonkso, I think he made a movie and he needed someone to play Jesus Christ or something. And he cast Bellatar.
Oh my God!
I forget it. I forget that story. I might have butchered
Yeah,
some details, but he cast Bellatar to be something like that, to be like Christ in a movie or something. So they had a great relationship, and like I was saying last episode, that the movie does give off Bellatar vibes just because of how they're them speaking in Hungarian and stuff. And so yeah, I'm rooting for them. I mean, it's a 3.5 hour movie, so it's like that seems pretty difficult to win editing if you're
yeah.
3.5 hours long. But I could see I could see Enora winning that. I'm gonna pick Enora.
I I think if Honora wins editing, it's just gonna win picture
I think Enora is gonna win
early
editing
early on the night.
because Enora has such a cool. It has such a funny way to start a movie. The way Sean Baker brought it up is he said there's 18 sex scenes in the first 45 minutes, and he was nervous that Mikey Madsen was even going to agree to the movie. And then when shit hits the fan in the movie, it like really locks in this amazing way where you're just locked in. I just didn't feel bored. I felt very compelled following when it made that shift, when stuff started happening. It was so funny and so explosive, but the editing was pretty sharp in that regard. I feel like even though it's a longer movie, I feel like it really gets you. And it didn't feel too long to me. And I think my
Yeah.
theme of a lot of these movies, and I even forgot to bring this up when we were talking about foreign film, but I did see The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which I thought was really good.
Oh, damn.
It was really good, but I think the connective tissue among all these movies is that the Oscars are pretty on the nose to a large degree, and there are aspects of that movie where I thought maybe they could cut some stuff out and this would be a little bit stronger. But I don't know, just in terms of editing, I think a lot of the Oscar movies probably are too long. I mean, I wouldn't say that about The Brutalist, but I would say that about Amelia Perez. I would say that about. I mean, Conclave felt okay, but it didn't feel fast to me. It felt a little. I wasn't really completely locked in, and there was no egregious editing, But and then Wicked is like 2 hours 45. So I mean, I guess they're talking about film editing in terms of effects and music, and obviously that's really complicated to do. To edit a musical is a complete nightmare. I'm sure the editing of Amelia Perez was a clusterfuck nightmare, like unlike anything the world has ever seen. But yeah, I'm picking Nora, even though I don't know.
All right.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Wicked wins that. Maybe I'm way off base. Do you have like a percentage in front of you right now on what the favorite is
So it is
on Gold Derby?
Conclave, then
Oh
Honora,
God,
then Amelia Perez, then Wicked, then
it's
The
just ranked, or
Brutalist.
does it say like percentages?
They don't have percentage, it's just odds based,
Okay,
basically.
does it say like a number for the odds, or it's just ranked?
It's I don't have the odds, but it's ranked off the odds. Hold on.
Yeah, because if you get me like a plus number, I could have any kind of. I would. It would give me a better idea of how close the 1 and 2 are.
All right, so we got Conclave 15-8, Honora 17-5. Actually, sorry, The Brutalist 9-2, Amelia Perez 7-1, Wicked 15-2.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not going to be able to do this one. I know. Like sports odds where it's like plus 500 or something. So what did you say? It was Conclave is 15-8, and
Yes,
then what was the second one?
Honora 17-5.
Okay, so that's more or less saying there's like a 50% chance of Conclave and a 30% chance of Honora. I don't know if that's the exact uh translation of that information, but it does seem like Conclave is the favorite.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god, if Conclave wins Best Picture, that would be crazy. So let's keep
we'll get
going
we'll,
after editing.
so I think honestly after that we can knock out adapted screenplay, which I think will be Conclave. Um,
Okay,
so yeah, for adapted screenplay, we also have A Complete Unknown, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing.
it's crazy.
So yeah, I don't see anything else winning there. I don't know if you want to elaborate. I don't think we have to. I think it's locked in.
I need to watch. I definitely would try to watch Nickel Boys because I heard that's like a point of view movie. It's like shot from like a
Yeah,
point
it's
of
like
view.
it's yeah, point of view, first person.
It's pretty interesting. That's more of like a production thing than writing, though. Even though you could like write that in the script, it would be more impressive to achieve that. rather than the script being like impressive. But I don't know, maybe
Fair.
Nickel Boy's like a cool script. God damn. I don't know. I mean, people love Conclave. I did not think it was that good. So then the
Yeah.
original script, uh
Original script, we got Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance.
I mean, I could
This
see the
one
Substance
is giving
winning.
me a lot of pause. I really can too, but I can also see A Real Pain. The
Well, did
only
he just
knock against
win
that is
something else?
I believe he won BAFTA and the Indie Spirit Award for Best
Oh
Screenplay.
yeah, that's what it was.
Jesse
And I
Eisenberg.
saw him on stage for something. Yeah, and it seems like he made a movie that was like in his like style, right? Is the vibe I'm getting, where it's just fast
For
paced
sure.
talking and all that.
The knock is that basically like uh A Real Pain isn't nominated for Best Picture,
Right.
but Nora and The Substance are. I would still go with Nora because it won the Writers Guild Award,
Okay.
but
Okay, I'll pick
I don't
Honora
I don't
then.
know. Like,
My gut, if I had no idea of what the odds were and I wasn't looking at like a ranking or anything, I would just guess that the person who wrote The Substance would get the Oscar. And that's also a very cynical prediction because I thought that the Substance script was not good. So I would
right.
I would gut firing from the hip, don't know who the favorites are or anything. I would guess The Substance, but it does seem like Honora has a lot of momentum in its own right. And I don't think I've heard anyone
Yeah.
the good news is I don't think I've heard anyone say The Substance is better than Honora. You know what I mean? Like people for the most part are pretty much in agreement that Honora
Yeah.
is like really good. And I haven't really heard anyone saying that The Substance is better than the other nominations. People overall seem to like The Substance, but I've never really heard anyone be like, "Yeah, that is the movie." And I feel like Honora has a lot more of that vibe. So yeah, hopefully Honora for original.
Well, what's interesting is like A Real Pain is obviously the most dialogue heavy movie
Okay, yeah,
for
that's an
just
interesting point.
talking all the time. Substance really isn't. It's the most, I guess, concept heavy is the argument. And Honora has won Writers Guild, but I believe it's somewhere in between. But like the freaking all the shit that Mikey Madison just like screams out of her mouth is
Let's go,
your
Honora.
mother's a fucking shluha. Shluha? I don't know. I'm sticking with Honora.
Fuck
I
you,
wanted to win.
motherfucker.
Oh, we're getting a divorce, but we didn't sign a prenup. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Um,
let's go, Honora. Let's get Sean Baker an Oscar. That'd be
let's
cool.
go, Nora. Well, I hold on. Side note. All right. So best director, we got Sean Baker, Nora, Brady Corbet,
Wait,
The
so
Brutalist.
we're already at best director?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I
Because
think
we skipped over the
I think
supporting.
Brady Corbett is going to win Best Director, though.
Uh, and we also got James Mangold, a complete unknown, Jaco Diarra, Amelia Perez, Khalif Arja, Substance. Who cares? I don't know. I'm going with Sean Baker for Nora
Oh, you think so?
because he won Directors Guild, and that's about it. But like I don't know. Brady Corbet has won what freaking Golden Globe.
I think Brady Corbet is going to win Best Director because
Yeah,
Sean
I don't.
Baker. I think
Mhm.
Honora could win Best Picture, though, and I think Brady Corbet could could win Best Director just because of the films nominated. It seems like the most. It seems like the movie that people are really again outside of our fucking friends or whatever. It seems like the movie that the Oscars are definitely very respectful of in terms of the craft, as far as cinematography, and you know it already had one score.
Yeah, it's kind of the cinematic achievement. It's the bigger scope of the film and everything.
Yeah, I feel like I get the sense that the Oscar voters are appreciative of The Brutalist, but they don't necessarily think it's the best movie of the year. And I think they have a tough time with figuring out what that
Yeah.
movie is. this year, even though, again, I think The Brutalist is a better movie than Anora, but if Anora won, I would be very happy.
I guess my reservations about Brady is that he's just kind of this newcomer. I mean, I've heard some like Gold Derby podcast talking about the awards that some people are worried like, oh, he seems a little bit pretentious in interviews and stuff, you know? Yeah, like people are saying that, and I don't know. Sean Baker winning the Directors Guild, he's 50, even though he looks like he's like 25. Um, he's really the most acclaimed and what would be perceived, I guess, overdue of these other four nominees, I
Well, I
guess.
just couldn't even wrap my head around Sean Baker winning an Oscar for directing. That would be crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
I
just
mean,
talking
yeah.
about, staging, I mean, he definitely does a masterclass of staging in Anora. The Some of the scenes that when everything is going when it's just pure chaos, it's really impressive. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being able to film some of those sequences, like some of the arguments and the screaming and breaking everything but
You broke my nose, you fucking bitch.
did I
Yeah,
did
it's
I
it's
say that Anora
hilarious
would win
and
editing?
shock. You did.
I
You
think
did.
Anora is going to win editing just from us talking about it. Where I'm like, damn, that was impressive the way it was cutting between all the different like settings and just all like the staging was just so impressive that I don't know, he could win director. I have a hard time believing Sean Baker would win best director just because he's been I don't know, there's an interesting thing with Sean Baker where I don't quite see him as an Oscar darling, even though I think he's about to win. Yeah, I think you've convinced me. I think Honora is going to win best picture.
Hey, well, what if what if I told you I don't have an award winning Best Picture?
Oh, that's okay. We can
We'll get
agree to
to
disagree.
there.
So I'm going to pick Brady Corbet for director, and then we
Interesting.
have to do lead actors, right?
So yeah, we can start with actor.
Did we not do documentary?
We didn't do documentary, but like I don't know anything about it. I don't really have a good
Do you have the
formulated
the
opinion.
favorites? Is it going to be No
I
Other
guess
Land?
it it's between Northern and Porcelain War, and I have Northern Land.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I just look at the titles and I just think about it for a split second on what I've heard about anything,
Is
and I
it?
just know what the favorite is. No, I had seen people post on their story about it. I just watched Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat the other day,
Oh wow!
and I will say it is one of the best films nominated at the Oscars this year. It is
So that means it won't win.
it is tremendous. It is basically an archival film that is wall to wall like legendary jazz music, and it's all about the CIA doing coups in the 50s and using jazz musician again connected to something we're seeing in the news, right, which everyone's having an opinion on now, is this organization USAID, which is basically a cutout for the CIA, and they didn't exist when Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, the setting of a Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, but that's basically what USAID did, is these kind of front things where you have like a concert and then you actually just change the government of like a third world country or something. But the archival footage is incredible. They have this incredible footage of uh, Khrushchev at the United Nations. I think it was at the UN. It might have been some other like talks going on these epic speeches, and essentially they would have these votes. There was like a scene in the movie where Khrushchev he had a vote. He asked like the UN to have a vote on ending imperialism because he's like, because the Soviet Union is putting this forward, the United States and like Britain will not be able to vote for it. So the whole movie is this intense critique of Belgium Belgian imperialism in regard to the Congo. And of course, Belgium is who ran the Congo forever, like in Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness. That is Belgian crimes, and they're one of the most you know extreme. I mean, obviously, American imperialism is in a class of its own, but Belgian imperialism is pretty crazy. It's pretty. I mean, they destroyed the Congo, and this movie is just very brilliantly talking about Lumumba, the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, which Kennedy, of course, loved Lumumba, and he wanted to really partner with Lumumba, and then the CIA before he even really became the president. And then again, that's why the movie is amazing. Is there's a part in the movie where they're like, "Who said to kill Lumumba?" And the movie's just like, "Yeah, Dwight Eisenhower. He gave the go ahead to assassinate this guy who was like this brilliant leader of the Congo that seemed to be able to be the greatest leader that this country has ever had. I mean, just a very inspirational figure in African politics, and Kennedy was hopeful about him. And there's a famous photograph of Kennedy hearing the news about Lumumba being killed and being devastated. And soundtrack to a coup d'état, its politics are pretty amazing. I mean, it was very removed. It didn't really give a very strong indication of what the filmmakers' politics are, but it's pretty cool when you see Khrushchev giving this speech about I hate fuck imperialism, and then America and Britain abstained from the vote, and then all the African countries, every third world country was like, yeah, we want to end imperialism, and the only countries that like abstained were like America, because they're just like, yeah, we don't really want to agree with Russia on anything, even though this is an obvious one. But it's politically sophisticated to make a movie where the movie is not, in my opinion, I don't know, maybe the filmmaker has gone around in interviews and said he's like a full-blown Marxist, but I don't think he is a Marxist. I think he's just uh an honest explainer. I mean, I don't know, that's not the right word. And he's depicting history in an honest way, because Khrushchev saying we're going to help you against your imperial conquerors, that just makes ideological sense. I mean, Marxism, and it's an interesting historical thing that Marxism is so appealing to like the third world, you know, whether it be Africa, the continent of Africa, whether that be like Egypt or the Congo. They have Abdel Nasser, the leader of Egypt, is in the movie, who was a large figure. And then they have Sukarno from Indonesia, I think. And they have a bunch of these legendary world leaders that are in this archival footage. And you can tell that, like, in the 50s and 60s, Marxism was very appealing to countries in the third world, and with good reason. And th- th- I mean, this is true. I mean, this is 100% true that the CIA and American imperialism, I mean, the only way to defeat the Marxist appeal is through dirty tricks. I mean, that's the reality. It's just dirty tricks. I mean, the CIA, these fucking organizations, USAID, which was invented in like 1962 or something, that's all it did for its entire history. And now we're seeing in the news people defending an organization that overthrew leftist governments for fucking 60 years. It's like, give me a break. So anyway, uh I would love for that to win best documentary, but I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna win best documentary, unfortunately. But no other land seems to be a cool movie. But I don't know. Yeah, no other land. Is there like a Ukraine movie in here too?
I think that, gosh, it's either that, it might be in one of the shorts or something, but it's either that or
I think
Porcelain
it's
War is
Porcelain
probably,
War.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
I'm looking at the names right now, and I do kind of remember.
yeah, that's Ukraine. Porcelain War
Yeah.
is Ukraine.
So
And then No Other Land, I'm assuming, is probably Palestine and Israel. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
no other
Okay,
land is like a
so
Palestinian film, I think.
yeah, that's the only thing, is like I might switch in a few days to Porcelain War, just because like maybe that might be so divisive. I don't know, like maybe giving like a documentary to Ukraine back to back years might be like a little bit of voter fatigue, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, I think No Other Land is going to win, but I don't know too much
Yeah.
about it, to be honest. I uh I don't know anything about it. I think I you know, the politics of the Oscars, it seems like a lot of it there is they're trying their best. I don't think the movies that are nominated are all nominated for the same reason. You know, it's like you know, I mean, the Oscars have thousands of voters, so the consensus of the Oscars is a lot less like it's not like 10 people deciding. It's like thousands of people. You know, so people actually do have to vote, as the sense I get. And when these kind of narratives happen, it's a lot of people a lot of it is money. I mean, a lot of it is these movies are literally paying and sending like gift baskets to Oscar voters and all this kind of stuff, and there is legitimate bribery going on. I mean, why do you think Harvey Weinstein was able to win so many Oscars for every movie he was ever a part of? I mean, he was a master at shit like that, like bribery basically, you know. And the actresses would go on stage and thank Harvey. So that's what the Oscars are. I mean, it's someone behind the scenes paying money to the Oscar voters, and outside of that, if there is a political component to it, a political as in where is the wind blowing? I mean, you know, would I say Hollywood again? What we're dancing around right now is the fact that there is a large Jewish presence in Hollywood historically, and
Oh my
Palestine,
God.
Palestine specifically is controversial through the lens of
Okay, I see what
Jewish
you're saying.
politics because people in general in the Oscars are pro or they're anti-imperialist, let's say. They're pro pushing up minorities who are being oppressed, and obviously the Palestinians are on the top of the list of people in the world that are being oppressed by an imperial power in a naked, obvious, disgusting way. But there's a lot of controversy with, you know, October 7th and all this kind of stuff. I know that Jonathan Glazer last year got a lot of shit for this, for opening up this conversation. I think he made some kind of statement about Israel Palestine, and a bunch of Jewish filmmakers and directors and producers, all kinds of people came after him because, and I didn't even think he said anything too crazy. He was just like, he was basically saying free Palestine, but also being like, listen, I don't like what Hamas did. I mean, he never said I'm pro Hamas. He just said, let's not butcher the Palestinians. And everyone just started flipping out. And you're just like, okay, guys, it's like, we get it. This is a complicated issue, but I don't know. I mean, again, a movie winning an Oscar isn't going to do anything, but I do kind of think there might be a reaction to Trump on this one. Like maybe Trump,
Yeah.
through being such a lunatic Zionist and specifically saying that America is going to take over Gaza, which I don't think is going to happen. I frankly just think it's,
We'll have some hotels there. We'll have some nice hotels
yeah,
there.
I think it's a non-starter. I just don't think that's going to happen because the Arab nations are all against that, and that would just break so many different deals they already have in place. There's just no way that's going to happen. But I think him literally having a press conference with Netanyahu, like that might have actually increased the odds of No Other Land winning an Oscar at the 2025 Oscars. That might be in people's like brains. Like if they were kind of debating, like, oh yeah, Israel Palestine's kind of black and white, or sorry, Israel Palestine's kind of gray. I don't know what to think about this. And then Trump has a press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu. And then the voters are like, actually, you know what? Free Palestine, to be honest. That actually that does like narratively, that does like add up on like one of the awards that could like really be impacted by who the president is, you know. But yeah, we're basically down to best actress and best actor, right?
And picture, but we'll get there. Well, I got Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet, Coleman Domingo, Rafe Fiennes, and Sebastian Stan. Obviously, this is between Adrian Brody and Timothy Chalamet.
Right.
So I don't know. Does the SAG win push Chalamet over the hump? I don't freaking think so.
Yeah, I think the SAG is.
I
I
don't
think
think.
SAG is not really. It doesn't really mean too much.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. Well, Adrian Brody, when he won the Oscar for The Pianist, he was the youngest ever, and now it's gonna be like if they would give it to Chalamet by a few months, he'd become the new one. And I just get
Oh
this
wow.
vibe that they're gonna do the Chalamet DiCaprio route where you'll get your Oscar, but you're gonna be like 48
Well,
or whatever the
that
hell,
happens with
you know.
everybody. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson like hasn't won an Oscar, and every person, every American filmmaker would say he's the best. Every American filmmaker would agree that Paul Thomas Anderson is one of the greatest directors of our lifetimes, and he has not won an Oscar. And Martin Scorsese did not win an Oscar for, I don't know, 40 years, something like that.
So he was like 60 something, like 63,
Yeah,
64.
I'm pretty sure The Departed
Yeah.
was the first movie he won an Oscar for.
Yep.
Like 35 years into his career. It's like, really? You're telling me with a straight face that everybody in Hollywood agrees that Kevin Costner is a better director than Martin Scorsese? Everybody in Hollywood agrees that
Yeah.
Robert Redford is a better director than Martin Scorsese. Yeah, this is the shit talking episode, guys. This is the real Zach. This is the real Zach.
He never changed.
We're we're
You just let him out of the
we're
cage.
connecting dots here. Two actors who had no business directing a movie. I might be wrong, but weren't those the winners? Kevin Costner and Robert Redford. It was Robert Redford for Ordinary People in 1980 for the 81 awards,
Yes, yes, and
and then
yes.
it was Kevin Costner for with Dances with Wolves in 91 over Goodfellas, which no one talks about Dances with Wolves ever, and everyone talks about Goodfellas every second of every day.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's just two. That's
God.
just two movies that Martin Scorsese didn't win. And then an actor making their first movie as a director. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. I've like gone on crazy rants to my dad. This podcast is more or less this is like the 2 millionth time I've had a multi-hour conversation about the Oscars on the phone. Let's just say that. I've had this same conversation with my dad over the years, and one of my biggest pet peeves is when an actor starts directing for the first time, and they immediately win an Oscar, and that happens over and over and over again. It's like, guys, they're not good at directing. They're not. I'm sorry, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is not a good director. I mean, he's not bad, but it doesn't mean he's better than Martin Scorsese. you know, like when they had the directors roundtable, I'll never forget this. When I think it was Paul Thomas Anderson with Phantom Thread, and they
Yeah.
had these like interviews with all the directors nominated, and it was like Greta Gerwig, Jordan Peele, Paul Thomas Anderson. It's like everyone was an actor, and then it was Paul Thomas Anderson, and they were all just like, yeah, he's better than me. They would all say that. They would all say that in the interview. In the interview, they'd be like, that's the director here, and then he doesn't win. He didn't even come close to winning. It's like, guys, this is crazy. Nobody agrees that Greta Gerwig is better at directing movies than Paul Thomas Anderson. No one agrees that Jordan Peele is better at directing movies, even if like the narrative fits like the year or something. Give it to the guy that deserves it. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there's like 14 people maybe, but
Because like, yeah, I'm not even saying that Scorsese and PTA for the given years were that obvious, but I mean, it's kind of like I like Goodfellas a lot. I'm not as high on it as other people, but I mean, Raging Bull. I mean, Martin Scorsese easily should have won Best Director for Raging Bull, and Paul Thomas Anderson for every movie he's made. I mean,
yeah.
but I'm okay with the Coens for No Country. No Country was that good where it's reasonable. that it beat There Will Be Blood. It was that close, I think. I'm not upset about that one, but I mean, Phantom Thread. It's like, come on, just give PTA an Oscar. I mean, what are we doing? Give him a screenplay. Do it how you did it for Tarantino, who's, you know, like, give him an Oscar. Like, what are we doing? You're not going to give Paul Thomas Anderson an Oscar for 30 years, and you're gonna look at me in the eyes with a straight face and just be like, yeah, he never really deserved it yet. It's like, really? I mean, he's the best American director. Give him the Oscar. But anyway, we're talking about acting, so my fault.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I guess yeah, we were talking about Chalamet versus Brody. I don't think I don't care if they're going to be like Brody's actually the only nominee in this category that has won an Oscar and everyone else hasn't. But I really don't care. I think they're going to give it to him. And
Yeah, I think he was
it clearly is, in my
definitively
opinion,
the best one.
yeah, yeah. I think non-people who are persuaded by voting categories and vote for the Oscars really are in line that they think this is the best performance of the year.
Yeah. No, there's no way Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan is anything. There's no way that is an impressive performance. There's no way. Zero
Um,
chance.
do you want to go to actress?
I didn't hate Ralph Fiennes in Conclave, but yeah, Best Actress is also a very hot debate.
So we got Cynthia Erivo, Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison, Honora, Demi Moore, The Substance, and Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. This is like one of my biggest fucking I don't know what to do between Demi Moore and Mikey.
I think Mikey Madsen got the momentum. I think she's gonna do it.
She does. I mean,
I thought it was gonna be Demi Moore for months, but let's be honest. Demi Moore is not a good actress. Okay, she keeps talking shit. She keeps going up to the podium and being like, "No one ever considered me good at acting." It's like, yeah, for a reason. For a reason.
Oh,
You weren't good. You're not that good. You didn't deserve to be nominated. I mean, am I wrong?
oh
Someone
my
correct
God.
me. Someone tell me a Demi Moore performance that was just earth shattering. I mean, she wasn't even good in The Substance.
Damn.
She was okay in The
Yeah,
Substance.
dude.
But again, it's this bullshit
Yeah.
where it's about an aging actress and then you're giving it to an aging actress and then you're having a younger actress be in the movie and then you're like, okay, let's reward the movie that is about the aging actress like reclaiming her role, like reclaiming her power in her art or something. But I don't think that narrative means that her performance was amazing. You know what I mean? Her
Right.
performance
I
is
mean,
very
yeah,
normal for what the role is. I was not blown away. I did not think it was technically amazing. I didn't think it was that convincing even. I mean, it was just, it's
sure.
how she is. Like, she's just not that good of an actress. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, she's not like, I mean, I see people being like, "Oh, she was great in The Substance." I'm like, how? I don't know. I mean, she's like playing the role. Like, I don't know what she did. I didn't feel like that was. I mean, the movie's supposed to be so dark and all this stuff, but it's just she just doesn't really go that far with it. I mean, the script goes further with it, and Margaret Qualley is incredible. But I think that's kind of my main argument. It's like if you look at Margaret Qualley and you look at Demi Moore, I mean, Demi Moore should be asking Margaret Qualley for tips on how to act because Margaret Qualley is just incredible. I mean, she's like one of the most exciting up and coming performers in the world, and she was incredible in Kinds of Kindness. Even though everyone hates Kinds of Kindness, she is going to be in the new Richard Linklater movie, which just premiered at Berlin. She was in, the Tarantino Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was good in that, but like we were talking about with like Kieran Culkin, she has a natural ability there's a thing with actors where they have ability to improvise or they have ability to be hyper natural no matter the situation. And Margaret Qualley is always very natural, and she's always kind of bringing her personality into the roles, and that's almost like classic Hollywood type thing of the movie is based around a personality. And I think Demi Moore is the ultimate example of someone with no personality. I mean, I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I do not remember one Demi Moore performance in my brain, like, ever. And every performance I remember is just the same, like, look on her face. Like, she just has this locked in kind of, I'm going to do this for the scene. Like, she's not a very dynamic actress. She's very limited in her range. And just because she's in her 60s and she's in this movie about a woman who's at the tail end of her career, it doesn't mean that the performance is the best. Mikey Madsen is amazing in Anora. That's an amazing performance. Period.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, also, what I think is interesting is there's like comps to it. Like last year, like Lily Gladstone. Granted, that's a little bit different,
That
but
was weird too
won
because
everything.
I thought Lily
Well, she
Gladstone
won
was
everything but
definitely the
BAFTA.
best. I thought she was better than Emma Stone, but I love Emma Stone, so I didn't mind Emma winning.
Right. She won everything but BAFTA, like
I thought she was going to win
Mikey
Best
did,
Actress, yeah.
but also like Mikey is Honora and Emma is Poor Things.
Right.
Lily Gladstone isn't Flower Moon, and obviously Demi Moore is half of the substance. And then I was also going to say like
What if it
I
was
don't know
Carla Sofia Gascon? Like the whole night just ends and she goes on an anti-George
no.
Floyd rant. She's like,
Oh
"Listen,
my God.
George Floyd had an overdose on fentanyl." That's how it ends. That's how the Oscars end.
Oh
She's
my
talking
God.
about. She's saying that the knee on George Floyd's neck didn't do
Oh
it.
my God.
That's like what.
Stop it.
That's what Carla.
This is
And you're just like, oh no. And Donald Trump comes in. He's like, "We are vetoing Carla winning."
oh my God. I don't know. I have Demi winning right now. I mean, obviously, I would
Are you
prefer
serious?
my vote. I do. I have Mike. I want Mikey to win, but I don't know. I just go like, it really. I can change that in like 4 hours, dude. I don't freaking like
It's
honestly.
gonna be Mikey. Mikey Madsen is an angel.
Well, also, I was thinking of like Glenn Close and Olivia Colman that year. Do you remember when
For what
like
year?
Glenn Close won everything? That was like the favorite 2018,
Okay.
and like Olivia Colman like only won BAFTA and Glenn Close won everything, and she's got this like overdue narrative. Granted, I think Glenn Close is a much better actress than Demi Moore, but um yeah, that and then they just gave it to Olivia Colman.
I don't remember. What was Olivia Colman in?
It was the favorite. It
Oh,
was
okay.
like Yorgos Lanthimos film, Emma Stone. Yeah, that was the year that I think Green Book won, and yeah.
Jesus. I mean, that's like even saying that out loud just makes me like
Well, there, yeah.
go crazy.
I consider the comparison because we have this like overdue narrative.
Well, the Emma Stone it wasn't necessarily that Lily Gladstone was overdue. It was more like it was a drama versus a comedy. And you
Yeah,
assume a
I
drama
guess.
wins over the comedy, but it was like kind of in the case of Emma Stone winning, it was
Yeah,
but it
but
kind
that's
of
what's
was
so weird
overdue
this year
for
is
Emma
that
Stone a little bit compared to Lily
well,
Gladstone.
she already won an Oscar though. That's why I was like, I really
Has Emma Stone won 2
they get
Oscars?
she won for La La Land. They gave her two or actresses before 40.
Oh my
I don't
god,
know
I
if anyone
completely
else has ever
forgot that
done.
she
Yeah,
won La
that's
La
why
Land. What the fuck?
that's why I was
Oh
like,
my
what the
god.
hell?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Oh my god.
So like I do think like God, by the end of the night I'm going to probably switch back to Mikey, but there is a seemingly trajectory of younger actresses like beating out like the
Honora's doing it.
Honora
It's
wins.
Mikey. She might just be that likable outside of the film too.
Yeah, I mean,
She's
what
like
is
an
interesting is
angel.
that
I mean, she's a beautiful
what's
angel.
interesting. She won BAFTA without it winning another award. Honora. They're like, yeah, we're gonna give that to you, but we're not gonna give Honora another award. But like, you are the best actress, which means like
She has the
outside.
momentum, I think.
Yeah,
Did she win SAG
yeah,
or was that Demi Moore?
that was Demi Moore. But
Boo.
SAG does the narrative more and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm cherry picking for what means what. Okay, so she won the BAFTA. I did post that on my Instagram. Yeah, I think she's got it. I think she's so likable as a human being. And who even knows? Demi Moore, what are the odds that she's like a nice person? Let's go further with this.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You got to admit that's like the funniest arc of this podcast, just of this episode.
Do we really know that like people like her, like in the industry?
I just
Are
go
we sure?
further. I just go further than she's a bad actress. I'm like, she's probably a bad person.
She's not good. Like what?
And I'm just judging. I'm just judging Mikey Madsen from a couple of very specific criteria. She did. She
Yeah.
did the Criterion Closet, and I was like, wow, that is.
Anyway, you
As I was
continue.
saying about Mikey Madsen. Mikey Madsen was one of the hottest human beings I've ever seen do the Criterion Closet. And I was just saying that shouldn't count for nothing. That shouldn't count for nothing. That should count for something, is all I'm saying. And she's an angel. She's a beautiful angel who, God gave us as a gift. Um, and yeah, she's going to win Best Actress. Any other thoughts, Austin?
I I I'm like 50. Yeah, I'm leaning towards her, but I hope she does. But I wouldn't be surprised if Demi Moore wins. But hopefully she doesn't. Is basically my take. It's kind of
Okay, so
pussy
we're that picture now, basically.
picture. Yeah. So I mean, Wicked got in, Substance got in, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, Nia Perez, Dune Part Two, Conclave, A Complete Unknown, The Brutalist, and Honora. So I really think it's between Conclave and Honora.
Conclave is not winning Best Picture.
Okay. Let me tell you why I think it is.
Okay.
I think that there is just this. Obviously, I I I mean, I would prefer Honora to win, or obviously, I would wish the Brutalist to win. But I finished Conclave, and obviously, I didn't like it as much as those two films. But I finished Conclave, and I just, based off quote unquote the vibes, it just seems like when you finish that movie, you're like, yeah, that seems like a best picture. The sneaky best
I
pictures,
guess.
like Green Book, Spotlight, Moonlight. I mean, Moonlight is probably the
Well,
best movie of those that I mentioned, but
Amelia Perez winning would be similar to Green Book winning. It would be the lowest. It would be a movie that nobody liked winning. People
I
like Conclave. People
I don't know.
like Conclave.
I think people like. Yeah, I don't know. I think people. Yeah, I don't think. I think Amelia Perez's ceiling is like supporting actress, song, and foreign film. I don't know if it can. But what gives me the most anxiety, I guess, is I have, obviously Conclave is probably going to win adapted screenplay. It's favored to win editing. Do you know there's only been one film that has won screenplay and editing ever, and that's it?
Oh, you just mean nothing else?
Yeah, just those two.
No, yeah, those are usually the movie that wins Best Picture will win Best Editing, Best Director, Best Picture, all the acting
Yeah.
awards. Like
the only
editing is 1-to-1 with the best picture winner usually.
the only film that has won best editing and best screenplay is Citizen Kane.
And didn't win best picture.
Right. I think that was How Green Was My Valley.
Yeah,
Or
which is incredible. I actually just rewatched that. John Ford,
right.
one of I mean,
Yeah, people give it shit because it's not Citizen Kane, but it's still a great film. But
yeah,
um,
we'll talk about it next episode. But
what
yeah,
what what is
John
also
Ford
giving
is
me uh
keep going.
what is also giving me stress is like I remember watching Birdman the year Boyhood was like sweeping everything, and I remember watching Birdman after it won Producers Guild and everything, like Honora has, and being like, this is like has a lot of enthusiasm behind it, like Honora, but do people like really want to vote for this for Best Picture? It's like I don't
Right,
know, but so I see like uh pro- a similar trajectory of Honora just ascending with all this momentum, but also like Conclave being that sneaky like, and Argo did the same thing, like editing, screenplay, picture.
right.
And Argo didn't. I don't think it won Producers Guild. I think like Life of Pi was taking everything that year. Although
Well,
Life of Pi isn't a comedy, but
Argo was definitely taking picture at a lot of places. Life of Pi was taking more like the technical stuff, but I think Argo probably won the Golden Globe that year. I might be wrong.
I don't. 2012 Golden Globes.
It'd be 2013 is like when the Golden Globes were hosted, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
So you can just go to Argo Awards
okay, it did win drama,
for Golden Globes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah. Ang Lee. I think Ang Lee got director though, didn't he?
he did, but also like the director
Yeah,
of
because if you're doing
Conclave,
3D and shit, like
isn't nominated for director, but so well.
that's
I
sort
mean,
of
I guess that
random.
they didn't do like Argo because it was Ben Affleck. I think that's more of like a obvious like we're not going to nominate fucking Ben Affleck for a director over. Um, I think Edward Berger is the director of Conclave, but I just see this like freaking this like sneaking in because there's like there I don't know. Last year was such a different pace where it was like Oppenheimer's just winning every award and it's like whatever. And we got like The Brutalist, we got Amelia Perez, we got Conclave, we
Yeah,
have Honora winning. I don't know.
Amelia Perez seems dead in the water as far as winning Best Picture. The Brutalist, the momentum definitely seems gone. I would like The Brutalist to win Best Picture, but it does seem like Honora is going to win Best Picture to me. Fuck the Brits. I don't think that the American voters, again, they're not. The American voters want to pretend like the multiculturalism and all this stuff. That doesn't include Britain. That doesn't include
Yeah.
a movie that's like made by Brits, like the directors. Those movies will get nominated, like you'll have like Helen Mirren in The Queen or something, but that doesn't win Best Picture. And I don't know the details about Conclave outside of that it is like a British. That's I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Conclave is like a British production and like a British
Yeah.
director, British producer. Yeah, get out of here. I don't think I
Get
don't
out
think
of here,
people.
Honora's gonna.
I think if you're purely in a situation of those are the last two, I think Honora wins. If it's Honora or the Brutalist, and the Brutalist has legitimate momentum, the Brutalist could win.
Yeah.
But it seems like Honora is going to win Best Picture. That's what I think.
Well,
And hopefully, I can get
yeah.
this podcast out quick enough in the next couple of days where people can hear me and hear you, and we can actually see what happens and have people
Fair.
decide.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it could just be like Nora gets like Mikey director picture editing, which would be crazy because Sean Baker would win 4 Oscars in a night, which hasn't happened since Walt Disney. But there is going to be something that
No,
happens.
that's what I'm saying with director. I don't think he's going to win director.
Yeah, like Honora is going to not lose something that it probably should win based on like previous award season awards. But what I was going to say is there's going to be something in this Oscar season, or sorry, award season that happens at the Oscars that it's just it hasn't happened before. Like maybe Conclave does just win screenplay and editing, or maybe Sean wins for Oscars, or maybe like Honora just
I
wins
don't
Best
know if
Picture.
no. Well, if Nora wins best picture, it's going to win best actress at least. And at that point, it'll probably win editing if it wins best picture.
Well, what's weird is I think it has a better shot at Best Picture than Best Actress, but
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
it's
What did we say for screenplay? Did we say Nora for?
I think it's going to be Honora, but we were also saying like we can see this the Substance or Real Pain maybe.
Yeah, I'll just pick Nora. I think Nora is going to win. Honora will win best picture, best editing, best screenplay, and then best actress. So I think I
Also,
got it.
also Best Picture.
Four. Yeah, so best picture, best actress, best screenplay, best editing. That's my prediction right now.
Damn, that's that. Yeah, I would say it's dude. Okay, right now I just have director and screenplay, but I might change that in the morning after like listening to this recording. I really might.
Well, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not looking at the numbers, and I've been drinking a little bit, but
That might be better than actually analyzing it like I have. So no, like
well,
filling out like a freaking March Madness bracket. Sometimes the people that do the best just flip a fucking coin.
so you're gonna round it out with Conclave.
As of February 26th, 12:25 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, but that can change. I mean, post Oscar
Okay.
session, I might be like, I changed it to Honora and I was right. So I don't know.
Yeah, we can keep discussing. So that sounds good. I'm gonna end the recording. Just because it is a little bit late, but we got through all the Oscars and it was very fast paced. So I'm sure outside of editing two different clips together, the editing won't be too annoying. But yeah, so God bless. I'm gonna hit stop on the recording.
Hey.